Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Great Game, Great Story. For the next 15 seconds, I need you to close your eyes. Don't worry, my voice will still be there, and then I need you to imagine a chessboard. And then see if you can follow these moves. White goes e4. Black responds e5. So we've got the two king pawns facing each other. White goes knight to f3. Black goes knight to c6. So we've got knights on different sides of the board coming out. Now white goes d4. Is it hard to keep track of everything? To play in the dark? Oh, right. You may open your eyes, and I would like you to meet American musical genius Ray Charles. One of the greatest singers ever, blinded since the age of 5 and mad about chess. So the darkness in which you have just played a couple of moves was, of course, all he saw whenever he played a game. Between gigs, on the tour bus, during interviews. Today's great game is Ray Charles versus a real grandmaster. And hopefully it'll teach you something about when to exchange material and when not to. And then what I also like about this game is that it's not a pomp and circumstance game filled with beautiful sacrifices that we could only dream of. It's just a normal game with lots to learn. And then the great story that surrounds this game is really just about the true power of chess. All right, let's hit the board. Welcome to Yellow Rabbit Chess. I hope this video finds you all doing well. We are back in 2002, and 72-year-old Ray Charles is playing white against grandmaster Larry Evans. Evan was a columnist for Chess Life, and he'd been asking Charles for a game for a very long time. And finally, Charles agrees. And Ray Charles goes e4. You see, they look happy, right? I think here already we take the first step towards understanding Ray Charles's love of chess. Because this position, or actually this position, he describes as really wonderful because we start out with the same pieces in the same places. You've got to outwit, outthink, and outmaneuver your opponent. That's what really fascinated him. And remember, he's still blind. So Larry plays e5, and here Ray Charles goes knight to c3. And I know you may be thinking that it's a little early to announce really brilliant moves here after just 2 moves, but I'm gonna do it anyway. If this is your only takeaway from this video, then let it be this move. White's second move, knight to c3. I cannot encourage you enough to start playing this line. It's called the Vienna game, or a Vienna gambit. You can look it up because we're not going to do an entire video on it right now. But I'll just show you briefly what it's capable. And maybe you're thinking, what's the big difference? You move your knight to c3 or you move your knight to f3. Well, there's a huge difference, and you'll see it here. For instance, black can go knight to f6, and now, what is possible now that had not been possible if you played knight to f3? f4. You know, it's like a king's gambit, just a lot more secure and a lot more fun to play. Look at what could happen. Black takes the pawn. You advance the e-pawn, and where does black's knight go? He cannot move here, 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 or here. So he has to go back, you know, to a starting position, and you just keep pushing, and eventually you take back that pawn, and you go d4, bishop c4, and you start hitting f7. Well, anyway, go look it up. It's the Vienna Gambit. Ray Charles does not like that. He plays knight to f3, to which Larry Evans' response is knight to f6. And after d4, we have a 4 knights Scottish game. So we see the board in front of us. And I reminded you that Ray Charles is blind, so maybe you're wondering what does he see? Did he see the same as we did in the intro, just darkness and then the moves? Well, not exactly. He had a board actually in front of him. You'll see it here. It's a special board that has its white squares elevated slightly and the black squares lowered a little so that he could feel his way around the board. And some of the, I think the white pieces had sharper edges. So yeah, literally Ray Charles was able to feel his next move. Oh, sorry. So Larry Evans takes the pawn. Oh, we're gonna move it up here. So there you go. You remember the position? That's almost the same as in darkness. Only Larry Evans does not take the knight. He goes bishop to c5. Even though Ray Charles did not play any tournaments, experts have evaluated his rating to around 1800 ELO. He only played 2 games against Larry Evans, the grandmaster. He played this and another game, and he has said that the other game has taught him to castle in time and not to move the same piece twice in the opening. I don't know. I haven't been able to find that game, but if you know it, please let me know. It sounds interesting. But for now, we're gonna have to do with this. And Ray Charles takes the black knight, and Evans takes it back. And here Ray Charles plays queen to e2, which is a slightly strange move. It's difficult to see what he's aiming at. He's covering the pawn, but it was guarded already by the knight, and he's blocking the white bishop. So a general rule is that you should never move your queen out too early. Just finish your development, and he could have played bishop to g5 or taking out this bishop to c4, just like the black here. But he does not do that, and we'll see actually how it affects his Ray Charles's development. So black is castling. Out goes the other bishop, taken by Larry Evans. An alternative would have been to drop the bishop back to b6, because then if he takes, he'll have his double pawn there straightened out again. Well, he does not do that, and Ray Charles takes back with the queen. You know, taking back with the pawn looks pretty ugly. So we have rook to e8. Already you see, even though there's a pawn here that would sort of block the black rook, this is not a good line for white. This is a perfect position for the black rook, but you don't want your king and your queen on the same line when you've got rooks around. So Ray Charles plays f3. And maybe his idea is to castle queenside and then go g4, g5, maybe push some of these pawns. But you know what they say, if you see your opponent making a slightly awkward move on the side of the board, or you strike in the center. And that's exactly what Larry Evans does. d5. So what's the threat here? Just take a couple of seconds. I'll have a sip of coffee. You tell me what the threat is. The threat is, of course, d4, forking the knight and the queen. So Ray Charles has to deal with that. plays queen d3, and according to Ray Charles's own commentary on this game, at this point, Larry Evans says, "Oh, you saw that fork?" And Ray Charles goes, "Yeah, sure. Do you think I'm blind?" Now, black goes a5, preparing bishop to a6. Now it's covered by the rook. It was not covered by the rook had he not moved that pawn. And Ray Charles castles queenside. I like that, you know. Someone castles queenside and the other party castles kingside, and you know you'll have a war. Probably a race to see who goes there first, who gets their attack carried out first. And black goes bishop to a6, and Ray goes, "You play pretty well, Larry." And Larry Evans says, "Well, you know, I'm a 5-time US champion." And Ray asks him, "All right, but can you sing a good note?" And I don't know if Larry was able to do that, but I don't know. Which would you choose if you had the choice between being the best singer in the US or the best chess player in the US? Queen d2 from Ray Charles. That was 14 moves, all in his head. Of course, on his special board, but in his head. Ray Charles was 35 when he learned to play chess first. It was in 1965, and he was in a rehabilitation program near Los Angeles, and it was actually his doctor that taught him the game. And he stayed up a lot of nights, and he would play with the other patients. And here we've got some simplification, some exchanging. I understand that Ray Charles would need to, you know, simplify the position in order, you know, the fewer pieces on the board, the easier it must be to overlook it. So anyway, Ray Charles's doctor encouraged him to play other patients, namely, primarily to fight his insomnia. And he would do that, Ray Charles. And about one of his opponents, one of his fellow patients, he said that we would sit up late at night and he would beat the hell out of me. But I learned. And then he goes on, "See, you always learn when people beat you. Especially if you pay attention and you find out why they beat you." And I don't know, maybe you go, who wants to do that? Who wants to go through a loss? I mean, if I lose a game, I move on to the next, especially if I'm playing blitz. But you should go through your losses, just as Ray Charles told you, if you want to improve. I think that progress is made entirely out of losses, not wins. You know, in every loss, there's a secret. There's this little why. Why did I lose? There's always an answer. If you go back and replay the game, you'll probably find it. What is in every win? Just feeling good. And that's not going to help you improve. So rook takes d8. Rook takes back, and here Ray Charles is about to make the mistake that will cost him the game. What might that be? You know, it's obvious that just taking here would level the position and would significantly increase his chances of drawing this game. I don't know what he was thinking, but he goes rook to d1. Maybe he just forgot to take the black pawn. I mean, had he taken it there, black would have gone maybe something in the likes of, knight d5, knight c5, knight f5. You know, that's a pretty equal game, and black even has the double pawns here. So I'd say that Ray Charles's chances of drawing this game or even winning it against a grandmaster would be pretty cool. But here, after rook d1, and after black takes it, he takes it back with his king, and there he just straight up loses one pawn. Now, it's not over yet, but it has become a lot harder to hold this game. So now the kings come out. And maybe you're asking, when should I bring out my king? I've noticed that players do that, you know. Is it in the when the end approaches, or is it, you know, when the middle game is over? And I think you should bring out your king if you can use him. If it's fairly safe to bring him out, and if there's a purpose. And here, there's certainly a purpose. I mean, these pawns cannot make it on their own. Neither can these pawns. So both sides need to bring out their kings. But here Ray Charles goes king to c1. And I do not know what he was thinking there. Maybe he was thinking something along the lines of, you know, distant opposition. That's a position in which the kings are on the same rank or file but separated by more than one square, and there's a certain move order. We're not going to enter that, but maybe he was thinking that. But you know, he's just losing a tempo here. And after black goes king e7, king d2, it's clear that he just lost a tempo. And after king e6 comes another, you know, inaccuracy from Ray Charles's hand. He plays king to e3. You see what that allows? If you're up a pawn, like black is, you would want to simplify. You would want to exchange. So of course this allows knight d5 check. And after king d4, knight takes knight, king takes knight, king d5, Ray Charles resigned the game. And if you're thinking, isn't that a little early? I'm not sure I would have resigned. Then I respect you. You're onto something. You should never resign this early. I mean, it's a hard game, and he'd probably lose if black plays correctly all the way through. Let's just see if he could have tried, for instance, f4. I want to show you what happens if black gets greedy. He says, okay, I'm going to take this pawn and I'm going to roll down with my pieces here, and I hope that these three guys can defend my queen side. Look what happens. Then white goes a4, preparing a passed pawn here. And black just continues eating pawns, and then b4. Black may take it. White takes back. Now, the black king is struck by a realization that this is lost. Because after king e3, opening the diagonal, calling the f-pawn, time to hurry, little friend. But the black king also sees that the white pawn is already on a5. And he will not reach it. You see, this race is just not good. And then what's the move here that would secure white the victory? Well, you need to place the queen on a square that would guard this square. And that is queen to a6. So let's go back. I think c5 here is the best move. That's black's right move, and that would still keep him. That would still guard him some winning chances. So the game would perhaps develop something along the lines of this, and he would go c4 check. And yeah, it's a difficult endgame. Just, you know, it'll do for now. Just promise me that you will never resign too early. So let me know in the comments below what you think the takeaway was from this game, apart from knight c3, and that you should always play the Vienna Gambit, of course. In my opinion, it's this notion of, you know, making progress in your chess. You lose, you figure out why, and you move forward. I'm pretty sure that these thoughts helped Ray Charles get through his depression and addiction. I'd even imagine that being addicted to drugs must be the exact opposite of that, right? You take some drugs, you get high, you get low, you get high again, you know. There's no real progress in that. You know, they say that chess doesn't drive people mad. It keeps mad people sane. And I guess this focus, this you are here in front of a board, in front of a screen maybe, but in front of an opponent. You are battling an enemy, and the rules are simple. You know for sure what's going to happen. You're either going to win, lose, or draw the game. I think that's beauty. That beauty helped Ray Charles recover. Anyway, huge shout out to our late Ray Charles. Go put on your favorite track and have a break for 5 minutes. I can't play his music here on the channel due to copyright reasons, but if you've made it this far into the video, you are amazing. Thank you very much. If you want to see me go like, whoa, thank you so much, you just hit the subscribe button. You're also more than welcome to comment. Let me know what you would like me to go through. Other games, other themes. This is Yellow Rabbit Chess. Thanks for watching. I'm Morten Runge. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, take care.